Manchester United interested in Spurs defender. According to high-profile Spanish publication AS, Manchester United are set to challenge giants Real Madrid for the signature of Tottenham Hotspur fullback Pedro Porro. The interest from Real Madrid is no secret, with most people aware of all the talk by now. However, this seems to be the first report linking him with a move across the Premier League to Manchester United. Manchester United showing interest in Pedro Porro's services. It doesn't take a genius to understand why. Manchester United have just appointed Ruben Amorim as their new manager, replacing Erik ten Hag, who was relieved of his duties last month, after just over 2 years in the Old Trafford hot seat. At Sporting, Porro played for Amorim 98 times, scoring 12 goals and providing a further 28 assists, enjoying great success as the right-wing back in Amorim's system. He has only used 11 players more than Porro in his managerial career so far. It was those performances that lead to Spurs signing him, seeing him as the perfect fit for Conte's wing-back system. It really is a testament to the player that he adapted so well to Ange's style, and playing in a flat-back four. On the one hand, Amorim being at United means they are going to likely have an interest in the player. From a more glass half-full perspective, these links could just be quite lazy and simply attributed to Porro already playing for Amorim. There isn't a guarantee that managers will just always go for their old players. That said, Noussair Mazraoui has impressed since joining from Bayern Munich in the summer, whilst Diogo Dalot won Players' Player of the Year last season, and is a compatriot of Amorim. That said, one of those may have a to play on the other side, which could open up interest in Porro, or another right-sided player. It would not be the first time that Porro would be contracted to a side from Manchester, having been on the books at Manchester City for a few years, though he never made a first-team appearance. Seemingly, he didn't get close either. In the last few weeks, Porro's form has actually not quite been up to standard. However, another good performance for the national team, followed by some needed rest, should have done him some good, so we will see how he performs now that club football is back. Marcus Rashford and Casemiro called into question by Gary Neville over US trip. Marcus Rashford and Casemiro left Manchester United behind to visit the United States during the international break, and Gary Neville has challenged the duo's choice of destination. Gary Neville has questioned why Manchester United stars Marcus Rashford and Casemiro flew long distances to go on holiday during the international break. Rashford was on the receiving end of criticism as he showed up for an NBA game between the New York Knicks and the Brooklyn Nets last week in New York City. The forward could be seen entering the arena with an eye-catching large white hoodie and black leather trousers. Casemiro made his way to Orlando with his family and posted shots on his Instagram at Disney World. While both players were free to do as they pleased during their spare time, with neither selected for their country during the international break, ex-United captain Neville has queried their choice of destination. The former fullback insisted he has no issues with the optics surrounding Rashford's attire or the attention he garners, but did worry over the effect jet lag could have on players. He also challenged the duo's decision to log a hefty amount of air miles at a time when United are going through a difficult period. "It comes with the territory when you're this sort of player and stature," Neville said on the It's Called Soccer podcast. "I've got very little sympathy for players who are the stars who are on huge money, huge commercial contracts. They want that attention, they need it, as that's what fuels them and makes them the great players what they are, and that's what gives them that adrenaline rush. They're going to get more attention, so I've got no problem with that and the attention he gets. I've got no problem with him going away in the international break. And I've got no problem with the clothes that he wears. He can wear whatever he wants. The only thing I would say, and I'm saying this very calmly as I don't want a Neville hammers Rashford, to be honest with you, as I'm not hammering him. It's been a very difficult period for the club, and it's been a very difficult period for Marcus Rashford. There was a player I used to play with that used to say, when times were tough, that basically you go down to that extra level of detail in making sure everything's perfect. You take the butter off your toast. You literally make sure you're absolutely looking at every single 1% of detail you could. So, I used to think standing in that tunnel, when going through a difficult time, I'd think, right, I've got to work my way out of this. I've got to be absolutely perfect. Every drink, every sleep, Every training session, every stretch, has just got to be absolutely perfect. But they're the clever ones in my mind. Rashford and Casemiro return to Manchester ahead of Amorim's first session this week. The England international will have to battle with Alejandro Garnacho and Amad Diallo for a place on the flanks, although he may also be used up front as United's new manager shapes his squad. Amorim asks Man Uti to sign 3 players in January, with targets named. Manchester United manager Ruben Amorim has drawn up a 3-man wishlist for signings next year, with Jarrad Branthwaite, Viktor Gyokeres and Victor Osimhen among his targets, according to Fichajes. The 39-year-old only held his first training session at Carrington on Monday, but rumours about his potential signings at United have been circulating for some time. According to fresh reports in Spain, Branthwaite is said to be first on his list. The Everton defender was heavily linked with a move to Old Trafford during Erik ten Hag's reign and saw 2 bids from United rejected in the summer transfer window. The 22-year-old is seen as an ideal piece to strengthen United's backline and could slot in as left centre-back in Amorim's new 3-4-3 system. Up front, Amorim is said to be targeting Gyokeres, who rose to prominence during his time at Sporting Lisbon. The Portuguese manager is reportedly convinced the Swedish forward could bring goals, intensity and tireless pressing to the Premier League, having impressed during his 18 months in Portugal. Osimhen, meanwhile, is viewed as an alternative to Gyokeres. The Galatasaray forward, labelled the most complete striker in the world, is not Amorim's first-choice option up front, despite Napoli's willingness to part ways with the Nigerian next year. Amorim has previously stated he will not raid Sporting for new signings in the January transfer window, though moves after the season have not been ruled out. The 39-year-old will be hoping to address Man United's offensive woes quickly, with the Red Devils currently the 4th lowest scoring team in the Premier League after 11 games, having scored just 12 goals. United are not expected to conduct major business as early as January, with reports suggesting Amorim will focus on maximising the untapped potential within the squad, rather than making significant changes to the team inherited from Ten Hag. The Portuguese tactician will take charge of his first game on Sunday, as Manchester United face Ipswich Town away. Man Ut lead race to sign £84 million star who dreams of joining Manchester United are being forced to play the waiting game before discovering whether they will succeed in their pursuit of Sverre Nypan, as the Rosenborg star is keen to secure first-team assurances ahead of potentially making the decision to head to Old Trafford in the coming months, Give Me Sport sources have revealed.